Okay, let us get on to our next speaker, and she is Dr. Valeria Ramaglia. She is one of Krembil Brain Institute's newest scientists with expertise in the field of neuroimmunology. Her work explores the role of the immune system in brain health and disease. And get this, not only is Valeria a scientist, but she's also a painter. Welcome, Valeria.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. Tonight, I'm going to take you on a journey, and not just into science, but into a mystery. Imagine this. A crime has been committed. There's a crime scene. There are victims. There are criminals. And of course, there are investigators trying to piece together what happened. Sounds like an episode of CSI, right? But this crime does not happen in a dark alley or in a city apartment. It happens in one of the most mysterious places known to science, the human brain. And specifically, in the brain of someone living with multiple sclerosis, or MS. Tonight, we're going to step into that crime scene. We're going to analyze the evidence, uncover the clues, and identify the suspects. Canada is has one of the highest rates of MS in the world. MS causes lesions in the brain, like those that you can see up there in the picture. At the beginning of the disease, these lesions appear and disappear, and so do the symptoms that they cause. They come and go. But as the disease goes on, these lesions accumulate and MS worsens. This is called progressive MS. And people with progressive MS experience a wide range of symptoms that can go from double vision to losing the ability to walk. But one of the most devastating consequences of having MS is that people begin to lose their memory. This is the crime that we need to solve. Because we have no options for it, we cannot fix it. And we must do better. So the big question is, what is causing those lesions to accumulate in the brain? Who is committing the crime? At the Krembil Brain Institute, my lab is searching for clues. And just like CSI investigators start from the crime scene, we in the lab start by looking inside the brain. We get these brains from the Netherlands Brain Bank, which is where I trained before I joined Krembil. And let me tell you, this is an incredible place where people donate their brain for research after death. It's an incredible gift, and I had the privilege of holding these brains in my hands and looking inside the brain to search for clues and start collecting evidence. And what I found shocked us. At the surface of the brain, we found aggregates of immune cells, like mini lymph nodes. They should not be there, but there they were, and it was our clue. But we needed to know more. What are these cells, and what are they doing? These are not easy questions to answer, because at the brain borders, there is an intricate network of cells and protein, and it's very hard to pinpoint exactly who is responsible for the brain damage, who is committing the crime. We need advanced techniques, and in my lab, we use something called single-cell RNA sequencing. This is a technology that allows us to look at all the cells that are present in the brain, all the genes that they express that tells us what they're capable of. And we also use a technique called proteomics that allows us to look at all the proteins that are made by these cells and releasing the fluid that surrounds them. And with this approach, we came up with two big databases, a lineup of genes and a lineup of proteins. And we needed to put the two together. So we turned our attention to artificial intelligence, and we asked it to predict which one among these genes and among these proteins would be the most likely to have caused damage to the brain. Who among the suspects would be the most likely to have committed the crime? And we did come to an answer. We identified the potential culprit, a criminal group called the complement system. Complement is part of the immune system, and it's an amazing, strong, potent defense that fights pathogens, but in MS, it's fighting the brain. So we think this is a criminal group. And just like any investigation, once you identify the criminal group, you need to try and stop it. And so we patented the idea of blocking complement in the brain to protect memory, partnered with industry to design a drug that can block the harmful effect of complement in the brain without compromising the protection that complement has to fight infections. And we're really excited that initial experiments in the lab have shown us that this approach can protect the part of the brain that is responsible for memory. It's not a cure yet, but it's a start. So let me recap all of this for you. We start from the crime scene, the brain. We unveil clues at the brain border. We identify criminal group. But we need to do more. We need to identify who within the criminal group is committing the crime, which complement component is responsible for the damage to the brain. And we need to catch them in the act, because we need to block it when it most matters. And if we are able to answer these questions, we might be able to design a precision therapy for MS. And I will tell you even more. We might even be able to solve other cold cases. Perhaps complement is involved in other diseases of the brain that steal memory, like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease. Yep. At the Krembil Brain Institute, we are writing our own version of CSI. Complement system inhibition. And our goal is to keep memory safe or give it back to those from whom it has been stolen. We have the expertise, we have the tools, we have the passion. And with your support, we can bring hope to millions. Thank you.
That was great. I love that whole CSI analogy. Okay, got a question for you. So how does then your research on memory and multiple sclerosis, how can that apply to other conditions?
Thank you. It's a very important question, and it does apply to other conditions. As I mentioned, Alzheimer's and Parkinson are potential diseases where this can apply. We have heard from the speaker before the break that diseases like Parkinson and Alzheimer's are defined by the abnormal aggregation of the proteins in the brain. Complement is at the crime scene once again. It's where those aggregates are. Complement is where the neurons are damaged in the brain. Complement is in the part of the brain that controls memory. So for all of these reasons, it does make sense to go after complement also in those diseases.
Thanks very much. Valeria Ramaglia.